Hey everyone, and welcome to episode 124 of the episode podcast. The podcast about episode numbers.
So 124, what do you think?
It's a good number, not quite as good as 125,
I was
but
going to say
better
100.
than 123. Wait,
No, that is
no,
bullshit. That is the other way around.
123 is a top tier number.
Exactly.
122 sucks. It
Yes.
has no rhythm, no flow.
Exactly.
This is the Toonami Escape Podcast. I'm Greg Sino. Tonight we have B-Dubs,
Hello.
C. Kohler,
Hey guys.
and Seda.
Hello.
So tonight we get to talk about a bunch of mysterious things that we don't really know what they mean.
How is that different than every other podcast?
Usually we don't have mysterious things.
Oh. I feel like they're all mysterious things,
So there's some schedule weirdness going on.
but only a little bit.
Let me bring up the Facebook post.
I have it right here. So
Ooh.
it says, if you watched the finale this past weekend, you know, alternatives come to an end. This is the important part. We have an exciting new show in the works, but we can't announce it just yet. That doesn't mean Toonami's leaving you hanging. This Saturday's action-packed lineup will be featuring the first episode of Alternative again, and then back-to-back episodes of Samurai Jack at 3 a.m.
Right.
I actually
So-
missed a bit about there being a new show. I just saw the lineup.
Yeah, it's interesting because I would have, if they had not said that they hadn't announced it yet, I would have just assumed it'd been like, you know, one of the ones we know about. But yeah,
I mean,
So-
there must be something new. What could it be?
Sword Art Online, Alicization, Anaplex's first simul dub.
I'm gonna die.
Well, the thing is like Aniplex just records out of Bang Zoom. So like, as long as Bang Zoom has like the cast, like the technicians and whatever they need ready to produce the dub. Yeah.
has Bang Zoom ever done a Cybeldub?
No.
Funimation has only... Well, no. Sentai has started doing them, haven't they?
Yeah, but Sentai has their own in-house recording
Yeah.
studio.
That's right.
They don't have the contract out.
Viz and Aniplex both use Bang Zoom. Different. Sometimes they use different like directors there, but same, studios. As far as I understand.
But I don't actually think it's SAO. I think it's some other thing that I don't know.
Yeah, it's so weird that they say a new show in the works. Now, I think the obvious way to interpret that is that they're acquiring it. But you could also read too literally
making
into
it.
this to think that they're literally making something.
Well, actually, Jason has said, I don't have it in front of me, but Jason has said that they are making something new and original. Along the lines of along the very vague lines of Hooly Cooly. It may not be Japanese at all. I have no idea, but it's a new original thing that they're working on.
I feel like at one point they said, hey, we're going to make Scavengers into a show and it's going to air here.
I know that they said around the time that Jack went on air that they're trying to average about one Adult Swim Toonami original a year.
Yeah, I do remember them saying that.
Well, they've already got their one for the year.
Yeah, for this year. Last year was Jack, and what was the year before was Space Dandy, right?
I think we did
was
learn.
that?
I think we did learn
Yeah.
after the fact that we didn't know how much involvement they had in Space Dandy, but they
Right.
do. I guess they do have some sort of production credit. So they might have just been providing some money, but who knows?
I mean, they got airings before Japan, so they had to have some money in it.
Yeah. I remember the Space Dandy thing was they found out it was happening, and then they went and they said, "Hey, we'll double this order and give you the money for it."
Yeah.
So otherwise, it would have just been 12.
Now, in terms of the schedule itself, One Punch Man is sitting in a rerun slot right now. It ends in 3 episodes, so there's something that could go there. When that ends, maybe. I mean, obviously they could maybe that slot being a rerun slot, they might just put in some other old show. Who knows? Bring back Ghost in the Shell or something. Big O.
The thing I mean, the thing that's weird here is the doubling up of Samurai
Yeah,
Jack.
no, I was getting to that. Like,
It's
there's
a
a
long
couple
show,
there's a
though.
couple of weird things with the schedule. One Punch Man ends relatively soon. Attack on Titan, we have 4 episodes left, and then they have to replace it with something. We have Samurai Jack doubled up, which that might be like a holding pattern. Like we're just going to double
totally.
up.
Yeah.
We might
Well,
just
I
be
mean,
doubling up that up for now.
That's
Then
what I think it is. I think it's
Yeah.
just Cowboy Bebop ended. They're going to use that slot for a new show, or
they just keep
they're
Jack there.
basically that they're preemptively keeping it open for Attack on Titan's stuff. Excuse me.
Well, here's the thing.
Welcome to the Burp Podcast.
Do you have anything else, Seda?
Well, the other thing is Lupin's rerun slot also ends in December, before Megalobox joins. So there's a couple of the rerun shows. There's basically a couple of slots that have to be accounted for coming up here. So it's either one or more new shows, or they might just cycle out a couple new old rerun shows too. But there's basically a couple of places where a new show could fit in.
I
a
imagine
bunch of those rerun slots are slots where they used to be showing new stuff.
Yeah, but it's a lot earlier now.
Yeah.
And they've got reruns all over the place at this point.
I totally agree that the Samurai Jack doubling up is totally just a stopgap that they need to fill that 30 minutes and they can't right now. And to add to that is the way they word this is that they have a new show, but they can't announce it yet. And I think that's interesting too. They can't announce it. Now, my first thought is, are there any events or any kind of thing that's going to happen here coming up soon where they would announce a new show?
I mean, con season is mostly spring and summer. So
yeah, I mean,
all the major cons have passed.
Yeah, I feel like if they were going to announce something, the last really good place might have been New York Comic Con.
Yeah, and that's over.
There is apparently an anime convention in New York coming up in, I want to say, November. But, it barely exists.
Yeah,
so they're not going to announce anything there.
So the other way to read this then is more like what's happened in the past, where they were ready to have a show, but then some kind of delay occurred, and now they're in a holding pattern because they can't announce that show yet because they're in the holding pattern because it wasn't technically available yet or something.
Or they're working out some kind of legal thing.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah.
I mean, it might just be. I mean, are there any anything that coming up that might be a simuldub that's not SAO?
I was wondering if
Funimation
or
certain magical index season 3.
No,
just throw them in there.
God,
Goblin Slayer simuldub.
Oh, God, I still have.
I wonder if Viz has anything else that could be on, because Viz has supported the block a lot recently with Boruto and now Megalobox and Hunter x Hunter and JoJo. I wonder how many other possible dubs they could be working on.
I feel like they've been maybe they got surprised by the Attack on Titan delay. Nobody was really informed exactly what was going to go on with that.
Yeah.
So they're suddenly shit, we need a new show now.
Yeah, it might be that too, because, I mean, we knew there was going to be a break. We just didn't know how long a break it was going to be.
I mean, even if it was coming back in January, they would still need a new show.
Yeah, but unless you're saying that they decided to push back Megalobox, I just feel like this whole stopgap measure with Samurai Jack just feels like they were caught off guard. They're in the sense that they would have normally had a show ready to go in this spot, and now they can't.
What was it? Was it My Hero Academia that they were planning on airing earlier?
Yes.
And they had to push that back for who knows what reasons.
No, that was whatever.
No, that was just that they never thought they would get it, and then they could.
It was the replacement for Lupin.
What was the show that was going to replace Lupin that took a while or longer for them to replace? For some reason, I was thinking it was My Hero Academia.
Did we ever get it? No. What?
I don't think it was that. I think it was.
No, I think it was.
Or was it Iron-Blooded Orphans?
No,
season
2. I think it was MHA.
I want to say I think that's what they said. They were they knew way back when that they were going to get it, but they didn't know, or they had to pass whatever legal tape they had to get through to actually be able to air it, and it
It's
took longer than
exciting.
they thought.
Because this truly could be anything, and it could come at any time.
I mean, there's a lot of.
If it is the legal issue, yeah, it could. I think we could be stuck with double Samurai Jacks for like 2 or 3 weeks, and then suddenly, boom, here's a new show. You know.
Yeah.
And somebody brought up that apparently Attack on Titan will end like right on like daylight savings time night.
Oh, One Punch Man rerun ends on November 3rd/4th that night.
Oh God.
And that's when that's when we go back an hour. Now, in the past, sometimes they've done extra bonus things for that extra hour. Sometimes they just kind of staple it like to the after the block happens. So they like just run 2 random Adult Swim shows for an extra hour. But considering it takes up most of Saturday, Toonami takes up most of Saturday now.
It's probably not going to happen like that. I imagine we're getting something.
Maybe we'll get some kind of short.
Seda, really quick, what are the show ending dates in November?
Let me pull it up. I actually just checked this recently. So One Punch Man ends first. Like that's the next show to end on November 3rd. So that's in 3 weeks, and it has 3 episodes left.
And that's daylight savings time night.
Yes, that's also the daylight saving time night. So they might introduce a show on that day to replace One Punch Man.
Attack on Titan ends the following week.
Yes.
Okay.
So those 2 shows need to be replaced. Now, One Punch Man might just be replaced with an old rerun. Who knows? It is a rerun slot, but we don't know. And then after Attack on Titan, then Lupin the Third, and then after that, it's the Fooly Cooly rerun, which ends. So there's several shows that are sort of ending in the next month and a half that need to be replaced somehow. So
I think for most of the rerun slots, they can just slot in stuff
I
they don't have the rights to.
Well, I think they want to be careful not to do too much of that, because then they'll get, you don't want to start a series and then just end it 3 episodes in,
Right.
Yeah. Well, I also think they recently expanded another hour, and they basically added 2 old shows that they seemingly have perpetual rights to, obviously Samurai Jack and then DBZ Kai. So they're probably not 100% sure how they're going to maintain all those slots.
Maybe the answer to that is more new shows.
I would hope so.
I mean, I would think there's a bunch of sort of older adult properties that either Adult Swim or Toonami, sort of helped develop. Big O Season 2, IGPX, that they could potentially decide, we could go back to this and we can do it better than we did before.
Big O does have that interesting wrinkle where before they weren't allowed to show Season 1, but now Season 1 is no longer in legal limbo, so they could acquire it. So they could show it if they wanted to.
I mean, it's just this weird thing where they own this rights to Season 2 outright because, they basically helped pay for it. I still hate the story of how fucked over Season 3 got.
Well, maybe it will be resurrected or something.
Hey.
Crazier thing. Hey, man.
Yeah. You're telling me.
They're finally going to rescue Megas XLR.
Okay, I actually didn't have it. I actually didn't have it written down, so I just checked it now. So the upcoming ending dates. Now the ending dates is the date of when the last episode airs. So One Punch Man ends on November 3rd. Attack on Titan Season 3 Part 1 ends on November 10th, the week after. Then the Fooly Cooly rerun, alternate rerun, ends on November 24th. Then Lupin the Third ends on December 1st. So those are 4 new shows ending in a month and a half. And then Black Clover ends mid-December, but I think we're just going to assume that that's just going to continue.
No, I don't want to assume that. Anyway, Megalobox is announced for December 8th, which matches really well with
Fooly Cooly, assuming there's a marathon somewhere.
Which is weird because you would think there would be 2. One for veteran. Did they do a Veterans Day marathon ever?
When is Veteran Day?
No, Veterans Day is in early November.
I don't think they usually do a Veterans Day marathon
because it's too close to Thanksgiving.
Yeah, that's November 11th.
I think we can assume a Thanksgiving marathon, which would push Fooly Cooly rerun ending on December 1st.
Yes, that would line up with
Megalobox. December 8th.
Yes. Now they haven't always
not to be true.
They haven't always done a Thanksgiving marathon, but you would think it's more likely than not.
It's either that or Halloween, and Halloween's in the middle of the week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see Halloween happening.
I think it's Thanksgiving.
Well, speaking of potential rights and ways shows get funded, there's another bit of news this week, or not really news, but it was interesting, is, when we've been watching Alternative, we've learned that Alternative was funded by League of Legends advertising.
Was it?
Right.
Oh,
Yes,
at least
it
a big
was.
part of it. Yes.
Because there was a special Toonami-themed advertisement for League of Legends featuring Tom and everything this past week.
Yeah, you guys don't remember that? It was pretty
B-dubs did
awkward.
not see it.
No. I had to catch everything on the Adult Swim streaming thing
So
because
B-dubs,
I
you've
was.
noticed if you've actually caught it live, you've noticed there have been a bunch of Riot game like League of Legends commercials lately,
Right.
Right.
which is kind of feels like Riot Games being like, "Please pay no attention to this story."
Well, that
League
part
of
is,
Legends.
Yeah, that whole drama aside, I mean, every time Fully Coolly Alternative, I don't remember if Progressive was this way, but I think Alternatives, every time it aired, they literally said during the commercial break, it says, Fully Coolly Alternative is proudly sponsored by League of Legends.
I thought that was only this week.
I think it did the previous week too. I remember.
I remember they usually did have, like, even the first episode of Alternative, they did have those League of Legends commercials.
I think
they've always had the
there was
commercials.
one in each of the breaks.
Yeah, but this past on the final episode and the finale, they did a whole Tom on the ship talking about League of Legends, whatever.
League of
They did a whole actual Toonami music video, or it was more of a speech. It was a Tom speech. But it was like the Toonami, they did a League of Legends.
It was basically a Toonami themed ad.
Yeah.
And it's like, what?
Yeah. And then DeMarco later went on Twitter or Ask or something like that. And he's like, because he knew, he got some feedback about it. And it's like, well, this is like your sellout kind of thing. And he's like, well, look, this got us to make this. This is the funding that made this happen. And they did something similar in the past. I forgot what it was, but there was something similar that they got funding.
Well, they do occasional movie
tie-in stuff,
like previews with Tom and Sarah talking about some movie that's coming out.
Haven't done it in a while.
It's not really like the Tom speech type of angle, but it's Tom and Sarah talking about a movie and what is an ad.
Right.
So,
I mean, I do remember when they do the ship transfer things, that's usually funded by some kind of movie or game or something.
Yeah,
it's always the game room. They get the new game room funded by this, and then the ship explodes.
Right.
So anyway, that was another thing that happened that was a little unique this past week.
And it's just like, oh boy, I hope you didn't know about this one thing.
Oh, that was another thing too. People were saying it's like this deal was probably happened 6 months ago, or a year ago. Who knows? Anyway, I mean, I'm glad that Toonami's getting paid.
Yeah. Like, I'd rather them take, horrible people's money and then do something good with it than, not.
So yeah, anyway. Are they still doing pre-flight?
I want to say yes.
I think so.
If nobody has watched pre-flight in forever.
That is true. I probably should watch it.
Yeah.
I feel like we stopped watching it once they stopped announcing new shows via
pre-flight.
I think the last one was Hunter x Hunter.
Yeah, now new show announcements just happen on their Tumblr just at random.
Whenever the fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, part of it might just be that it's too hard to nail down the timing of some of this stuff otherwise. And I mean, it's a lot easier to, just put up a Tumblr post than, have a whole segment recorded and ready. Especially if they have no video footage to show.
Yeah. Also, it could totally have been stopped months ago when we just haven't even noticed.
They were, how they dressed up at cons, like Comic-Con?
Yeah.
They did it again this year. I do remember seeing pictures or something.
Huh.
I think they're still doing it. You're right. I have no idea why I stopped listening. I haven't in a while.
It's
usually, it was more like the show was not so much about what's happening on Toonami. It was just like a retrospective show. It's where they're like talking about things that have happened in the past, about like, oh, remember this show, and then we'll do our rankings and that kind of thing.
And then here's Steve Bloom, or an editor, or the voice of Sarah on the travelogue or something.
And those were actually great segments. I don't know. I just haven't listened to it in a while. I should watch it again. I'll watch it this week and see.
They mostly do like unrelated to Toonami stuff, like favorite. Like this month, they might do favorite Halloween themed movies.
Right.
Yeah, they've done stuff like that. They've done a lot of anime stuff specifically, though. Stuff that never aired on Toonami, but they want to talk about it.
Didn't they do another one of those recently where it's like he put out another list of those where he's like, man, I wish we could have gotten this, and Vision of Escaflowne is on there, and it's like it's right there.
I think he might have mentioned on his Ask. He might have talked about this. I don't think he did, but like apparently, Darling in the Franxx was a consideration, but it's not happening.
No, he said he didn't want it.
They were.
That's it.
It looks like they were looking at it, and then it sucked, so they were like, nah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
No, what it was is somebody asked them if the other Trigger show,
Gridman.
Yes, yeah, SS Gridman or whatever. He's like, what about this? And then DeMarco's response is like, if it's a lot better than Frank's, then it may be in the bill or something like. It was like a knock on that Frank show.
Oh, and it's funny because Darling in the Franxx was an A1 show. It's not even really Trigger.
Yeah, it was just.
It's just Trigger's brand. They touched it slightly, and people were like, "It's a Trigger show."
I mean, that's how it works. I mean,
I watched that whole goddamn show. I don't know why.
Why would you do that?
I don't know.
Hey, Grex, is Zombieland Saga actually good?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I mean,
So like,
I see some anime people saying it's good, but I can't trust anime people.
No one can trust anime people.
We are all anime people.
It's pretty ridiculous and amazing.
I mean, I've heard like horrible things about Goblin Slayer from anime people, so I know to stay away.
Only the anime people on this site go to our anime, and it's like, what do you mean? Shut the fuck you! I'm not a bad person for liking Goblin Slayer.
Is that what they sound like?
Huh?
More or less.
Yeah.
It's what I imagine.
Giga put out a video, and I had to unsubscribe from him.
So, did you watch that video? I didn't.
It's the title was Goblin Slayer, the worst anime ever.
Oh no,
and it's exactly as insulting as you would think.
That is not the video I thought you were talking about. I thought you were talking about his video about how
Why Black Clover is good now.
Yes,
it was never.
I didn't even watch that one.
I haven't watched that one either.
And I'm just like, I'm done.
I have a hard time believing it, but I guess it's possible.
No,
we should. I have things to say about Black Clover when we get there.
we can wait.
Well, let's get started then.
Wait, wasn't there one more news thing?
What was it?
I don't remember.
Then no.
I could have sworn there was like 3 different things, and we went through 2 different things.
We talked about Attack on Titan. Attack on Titan's break kind of got folded into.
Oh, right, yeah.
This is the first week where it was finally like actually confirmed how long it was going to be gone.
Yeah. It looks like I kind of like the pacing for this entire season. It's just kind of thrown me off because I kind of expected the whole thing, with the cowboys with the guns to have taken a much longer time because the manga. Yeah, because the manga took like 1.5 years to get through that part.
Well, monthly.
Well, yeah, but still, it blew through it in like 3 episodes.
The pacing's a lot better it seems that way. I mean, from everything I've heard, yeah.
So yeah, it was that, the weird schedule things,
right,
and then the League of Legends stuff.
Okay.
Anyway, let's talk about My Hero Academia. My Hero Academia, episode 22, Bakugo versus Uraraka. Seda, what did you think?
I mean, so first of all, kind of referring back to the last episode, I agree wholeheartedly with Chris about I want to see these not main characters, like some of the side characters of the class in these battles showing off their powers and things like that. Like, I disagree with B-dubs. Like, I want to see that. Like, I'm more interested in the characters than I am in whatever storyline there is. Because there honestly isn't much of a storyline yet.
There isn't.
Other than, you know, we know that there's some villains that are out to get All Might. We don't really know much more than that. But so seeing Uraraka, this is really kind of the first time we see her doing something, like having the spotlight on her since,
and it will be the last time.
That's what I've heard. And first of all, I'm of two minds of this. She had a strategy, and she didn't have to rely on Deku to pull it off, and I think that's a good thing. I would have been a little bit disappointed if it was just Deku. It's like, hey, you should do this, and basically have me pulling the strings here, and you're just a puppet. And so, like, I'm glad that it's something that she came up with on her own as a character, showing that she has agency and she can do this on her own. Now, throughout the fight, she did reference Deku a lot as inspiration, and I felt that might have been a little bit too needy. Like, she's not relying on Deku like directly, but she's basically like doing this almost because of him, like as a source of inspiration, or as because she doesn't want him to see her, you know, fail or whatever.
It's like if she didn't have the thing with her parents, I don't think it would be the same thing we shit on Mikasa for.
Yeah, like I don't think it was like super egregious, but just a little bit.
But that's reductive. She's got way more stuff going on than Mikasa.
Yeah, it's just
So the fact, like, and I had noticed that she was having Deku or Bakugo kind of wreck the stage. I wasn't immediately sure what she was doing. Like, it wasn't obvious. Oh, she's obviously putting pieces into the sky. Like, I think that was well done to kind of have that strategy being something that she knew that the audience wasn't clued in on right away. So I thought that was decently done. And I like the chat she had with her father afterwards, specifically the line where she said, "I failed," and her dad corrected her and said, "You lost." And I just think that short exchange, "I failed," "No, you lost," is that there's a significance there. Right. Like, losing isn't quite the same as failing, not to that extent. And the fact that we could have a character have this sort of heart-to-heart conversation with their parents, even if we didn't see her dad, was actually kind of refreshing, because you don't see that very often in this medium.
Well, that's because all the parents are dead.
Usually. So that was nice. And it felt, even though she did lose, it didn't feel like how some people might say, like, she was, a scrub or whatever. Like, it felt like her character was built up a bit here, even though she lost. So I thought.
Also, what she did was really great too, that I think also elevates her character, is that when Deku goes to check on her, she's like keeping it in. Like, she's like, "Oh, I just didn't do a good enough job. I'm going to try harder, and if only to make him feel better."
Yeah,
she was protecting, holding back her true feelings in a way that was very mature. And then, of course, when her dad calls, she can't control herself. She kind of loses it there. But it's that kind of another form of agency where she's able to kind of, put on a strong face for her friend. And I thought that was really good.
Right. I mean, go ahead.
I was going to say, I felt like the amount of, I'm not sure the right verb for this, but self-pity she had was appropriate. She wasn't super whiny, like, "I'm a failure, I suck." She a little bit of that, but not like overboard. Like, it felt like an appropriate amount of, "I tried my hardest and it wasn't good enough."
Yeah, it was more that she felt like she let her parents down.
Yeah, so it felt like an appropriate level of, again, I don't know if this is the right verb, but the appropriate level of sort of the self, acceptance of I lost here, and obviously her dad helped her kind of through that a bit. So I guess this is a little bit of a spoiler. I haven't seen ahead, but to know that a lot of people say this is maybe one of the biggest moments for her character in quite some time here is a little bit disappointing.
Well, let me just.
It feels like you could do a lot more with her, given what happened today.
What it feels like is that Todoroki just comes in and he's like, "No, your slot in the main character list is mine now."
Yeah, I mean, what I definitely liked about this fight was she had her plan and she basically executed it perfectly. She just didn't realize that, holy crap, that dude's explosions are way bigger than anyone thought they possibly were.
I do like how Bakugo is kind of a mixed character and how people feel about him. But a small little moment is Bakugo doesn't learn anybody's names. That's kind of been established. He doesn't know anyone other than the people he sort of like wants to beat. And one of his lines was, I don't remember exactly, but he basically yelled out Uraraka's name. And that was basically a key line from him. Basically, he kind of recognized at that point, she's not messing around. I can't take her lightly. Yeah. And it's sort of his way of showing respect. And he did have a small little monologue when he did basically nullify her attack. Like, that was close. That took everything I had, type of thing.
Well, and he actually, after he won and he went and sat down with Class 1A, I mean, he straight up says to them, he's like, "You guys are underestimating."
Yes.
Like, people were like, "You dominated out there," and he's like, "No, you don't get it. She was a tough opponent." And it's like one of the only times I've ever seen Bakugo actually fess up to someone being strong. And he was straight up saying that. And that was actually a surprising amount of character development for him.
We also get the audience being like, "Oh, boo, you suck. How could you take it easy on the girl?" And then Eraserhead has to just come trying to be like, "Shut the fuck up."
Yeah, like,
quit your job.
He's not taking it easy on her at all. Like, she had him like painted into a corner. He couldn't move without risking her, getting the touch in and then just winning.
Well, they basically said that outright.
Yeah. It was just one of those things where she had this whole thing planned out beyond even what Deku had, in mind. And it's basically the only mistake that she made, if she made a mistake, was not realizing the extent of how big he can go.
She needed a backup plan for her plan.
Yeah, that was her regret, is that she didn't have a second option.
Yeah.
What if he stops it?
Yeah, like, I feel like had she charged in, had she thought to charge in when the rocks were falling and he was aiming up at them, that she could have got the win there.
He can't blow both of them away because he needed both hands for the super explosion.
Exactly. Like, make him make the choice. Like, either get me or lose this way.
Now, this is something that if they wanted to, they could revisit it in a future episode. Like,
I'd love a rematch.
Not even necessarily like against Bakugo, but if she's in some situation where she has to pull out everything she has, and she's like, "I learned from this experience. I'm going to do this similar sort of strategy, but I'm going to tweak it a bit because I know what happened last time."
Well, I'm hoping that could come up soon.
So,
honestly, I really liked this episode because of how it handled her character and his character, and the interplay between them, and how they both kind of had this growth throughout the thing. And I just want to say that, like, my problem with the last episode was it was like half just fan service, and this wasn't fan service. There was actual like character stuff going on, which I really, that's sort of the reason why I watch a show like this with a big cast, is to sort of see that character stuff.
Yeah, they did a really good job. And like, also just outside of the story and the drama, that was great animation, and also, which is becoming really norm on this show now. It's just always looking good. And and a side note to that is I'm loving all these Ochako faces. Like, she makes some of the best faces in this show. They're always so entertaining to look at.
There's an amazing one when her parents actually show up.
Oh, wow,
God.
I can't wait. Okay. Okay, well, and then one other thing that happened in this episode at the very end, we see Deku leaving from having talked to Ochako, and who else is there but Big Daddy Endeavor, who shows up to basically tell him that he's going to have his son beat the crap out of him.
Don't lose too pathetically now.
Yeah, and then Deku, what did he say? He was like saying something to Endeavor. It's like, oh no, you don't get it.
Your son is not. He said something like, "I am not All Might, and your son is not you."
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
That was pretty great. And Endeavor kind of was like, oh.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, here comes the main event.
This is what was featured in the opening, so it's got to be good.
Yep, it is. Also, but you forgot the most important part of the episode.
Which one was that?
Kirishima defeated his Echo Fighter.
Oh.
In an arm wrestling match.
Oh, yeah.
Whatever.
Wait, why did they do that?
Because they knocked each other out with perfectly symmetrical violence in the previous episode.
Oh. I forgot.
Like that whole thing was just completely ridiculous. Like when I say that, there's fan service stuff that you might not necessarily need because it doesn't do any character stuff, like that's exactly the thing I'm talking about. I'm like, no, they could have, maybe shortened that fight up a little bit. With the whole Echo Fighter thing. They didn't have to keep cutting back to it.
But then we would never have a character named Tetsu.
I feel like when you have like a large cast of characters like this, there's a certain distribution you have to have of like importance. Right. Like it's pretty clear that Kirishima is not really
that important.
A main character that you're really supposed to be rooting for. He's kind of a one-note quirky dude that you might kind of like his one-note personality, but you can't expect every single character in this class to be really well developed.
No, but, of course. I'm just saying it feels like we might have spent a tiny bit too much time on him. Like they could have wrapped that whole thing up in one episode. Mm-hmm. Like they could have cut out, one scene of them just punching each other and cut in the whole, arm wrestling thing. Like it's just that's the one fight I think didn't need 2 episodes.
Yeah, it was just a bridge between 2 scenes. That's really all it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I just felt like I'm like, oh god, here we go again with these 2.
Did we also get Deku like freaking everyone out with his muttering?
Oh, that's always fun.
I think that happened. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't remember if that was this episode or the last episode.
It's every episode.
Every time. Anyway, Naruto Shippuden. Naruto Shippuden episode 222. The 5 Kage's decision to put Naruto on a boat somewhere. Yay!
He's going to Hawaii.
Well, I mean, he deserves a vacation. He did just beat, one of the big bad guys of the series.
I do think...
And he had a panic attack over his best friend being evil.
At this point, I feel like Naruto is still too stupid sometimes.
No kidding.
Like it's like they really played up like, oh wow, I'm going on vacation to you guys are gonna do all this work while I get to chill out, and it's just I don't know, they're like playing
it up.
You're
going on an S-class mission, you idiot.
Like I feel like they're playing it up as like humor, but it's not really believable humor. Like, can you believe Naruto still acts like this after everything he's accomplished?
He's still exactly the same in Boruto.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I kind of feel like this would have been a good spot to do a time skip at some point in this thing. But, for some reason we didn't. And now, whatever.
Well, what we did get in this episode, including outside of that scene, was we got to see Killer Bee and his 2 scrubs basically have their own like little Looney Tunes episode where they're like literally looking like wacky, goofy, slapstick animation trying to sell concert tickets.
They look like a background prop in an old cartoon. It's like it's the only thing that looks like that, so you can tell somebody's going to grab it.
Yeah, it's so weird. Like, it's just, I know it was for comic relief and all, but like the animation style just completely shifted away from the traditional way this show works to just straight up squash and stretch Looney Tunes.
Yeah, I got that same feeling.
Yep.
It wasn't terrible. I'm just pointing it out. It was very odd, just out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Well, apparently YouTube is down right now.
Wow.
Oh,
That's
good
pretty
thing
great.
we're in a Google Hangout.
Yikes. Hopefully this works.
Yeah. They got a whole monkey and everything.
Should be up. It looks like it's. Oh no, it's not loading.
So the only other thing I remember happening
The lost episode.
The only other thing I remember happening in this episode was that Tsunade was like upset that they weren't going to use the Jinchurikis to fight, but everybody else had agreed that they're going to like hide them away.
Yeah, I mean, there's 2 of them left.
It's probably so. First of all, did anything else really happen in this episode? It was kind of a humdrum episode, like usual.
It's like usual.
This was like an exposition episode.
I can't remember anything that happened in this episode.
I mean, I just know from osmosis that the last main arc of this show is the war, and they're basically just kind of setting that up.
Oh yeah, there was this scene with Shikamaru and Choji where they literally, and it made me laugh out loud. Shikamaru literally just telling Choji everything that's happened and everything that is about to happen.
Yeah.
Like as if he was talking directly to the audience. He's like, oh yeah, by the way, don't you remember that Naruto just beat Pain? And then he went and talked to Sasuke, and now they're going to train because the big war is about to happen?
We're having this conversation on the neighborhood woodpile.
Yeah. And it's like, oh yeah, audience, in case you've been gone for a couple episodes, let me just wrap it all up for you.
Yep. And
it was so bad.
Apparently it's filler. Like that conversation didn't happen in the manga. It's just kind of like anime literally filling time by telling us what we already know. But on that note,
I'm going to write a letter to someone to describe all the events.
This next week's episode is episode 222, I think. Or was this?
This was episode 222.
I'm looking. What was this episode called?
The 5 Kage's decision.
Oh, so okay. So the next week is filler, and we have filler for the next 20 weeks.
Oh God! Wait, did you say 20 weeks?
Yes, I have the filler list in front of me here, and
it's like half the fucking year.
Yeah,
I need to bring back the usual ship it in filler banner.
I hope we get all kinds of terrible filler characters.
Watch it just be one long filler arc.
I don't know if it's a filler arc or just random episodes, but yeah, the next 20 episodes are filler.
I mean, honestly, random episodes might be better.
In that
Ostrich Ninja.
In that last batch of filler, there was that one
just the one
that was based like Naruto and Sasuke getting like connected by like some weird hand device and like
a Chinese finger trap.
Yeah, it was like stupidly well animated. Like, why does this look so good?
They never figured out that all of their filler should just be trying to get Kakashi's mask off.
Exactly.
I'm starting to think that the animators at Perot, like every time they have to animate canon, they're just like, oh fuck this. But then when they get like filler, they're like, let's go.
I don't have Shonen Jump breathing down my neck, looking at every keyframe, and comparing it directly to a manga panel.
So I'm looking at some of the titles for some of these filler episodes. Like one of them is "Eat or Die: Mushrooms from Hell." Another one is "Sai's Day Off."
Oh God!
Kiba's determination.
Sai's Day Off. We go now live to Sai as he does absolutely fucking nothing.
Wait, how do they have a Sai's Day Off? The entire fucking village was destroyed.
Revenge of the Shadow Clones.
What?
This is what we're in for.
Okay. What else?
The curse of the cursed ghost ship. I don't know.
What the fuck is this, One Piece?
The cursed ghost ship, I guess.
Kakashi, my eternal rival. That's clearly a Guy Sensei episode.
Yeah. I mean, we already saw Thriller Bark, though. What are they doing a ghost ship for?
You know what? These are sounding amazing. I'm actually looking forward to some of this
Naruto's
bullshit.
favorite pupil. That's a Konohamaru episode.
Yeah.
The girls get together.
Oh,
yeah.
What do they do? Let me guess. They talk about Sasuke.
Yes.
Probably.
Great. What else is new?
All right.
Enough of that bull crap. Let's talk about another show.
Yeah, let's talk about Boruto.
Isn't that the same show?
Boruto, Naruto Next Generations, Episode 3. Metal Lee goes wild in this very special episode. Metal Lee can't perform when people are watching.
Who can?
I'm totally getting what people are saying about this feeling like an after-school special.
I mean, who can perform when other people are watching? You know, just saying. Sex joke.
So this
Metal
episode,
Lee is not as great of a porn name as Rock Lee.
So this episode had Little Shikamaru like talking to Metal Lee about like, I don't even remember what he said, but he criticized him for something. I don't even remember.
His name is Shikadai.
Yeah.
Shikadai.
What is that?
I don't even remember why he criticized him. He just like criticized him for his issue.
Well, I think he was trying to help him. He was just like, he's like, dude, you need to, you know, stop being such a wuss. And then he like later in the episode, they realizes that, you know, he only sucks when he's like super self-conscious or whatever.
But they really played it up like, oh man, I didn't mean to hurt his feelings. Well, you should go apologize to him. And it felt like an after school, like grade school show.
Yeah, it did. Yeah.
And the last episode felt like that too, with the like the bully at school and
yeah. I mean, I'm hoping it's not going to stay this way, but yeah. So the last couple of episodes have definitely felt really pretty weak in the story department. What do you guys think of Shikamaru and Tamari?
Shikamaru kind of acts the sort of same way to me. Like he seems like he's congruent with what he was when he was a teenager. Tamari, you know, obviously it wasn't. She's not like a super main character, and we only got a small glimpse of her. But she kind of seemed like overbearing housewife type of archetype. And like maybe that's the type of character she would grow into. Who knows? But
I mean, she was always a little, you know.
She always seemed competent.
Yeah. Yes, she was definitely competent.
But she was like her. What we saw of her, she was just kind of overbearing and
strict.
Yeah, like kind of like a Chi-Chi type character.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there wasn't a whole lot to go on, but I will say it is just sort of nice to see these characters like as adults, even in just a small scene like that.
Mm-hmm.
I like the scene where Metal Lee gets attacked by enormously harmless cute birds, and it's like,
No, I can't.
No, not tiny pudgy burbs.
Round burbs.
I can't possibly defend myself.
I liked how they all play Ninjato switches. And they play like Dragon Quest on them.
The N in N-Gage stands for ninja.
And their handheld game consoles actually look like open scrolls. Did you notice that?
Yeah.
They look like a scroll that's being opened. That's their game console technology design. Very fitting.
Yep. And they were playing playing a game that looked like Dragon Quest, only it was multiplayer.
Yeah. And then Metal Lee
Metal Lee deletes the Pokemon save file with the level 100 Charizard. Fuck you, bro. I will never forgive you for that.
He doesn't deserve to be forgiven.
We also saw more of this like dark chakra that's floating around, and I guess it's like periodically like possessing people. That's the only bit of story really in this episode.
Right now, the dark chakra is just kind of like the recurring villain of Power Rangers. Just kind of like, and this is who I'll possess today.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure there's more to come. It just feels like there's more to come with this. They wouldn't be setting it up so much.
And very clearly, it's Boruto can see it because he's got Hyuga blood in him.
Yeah, I thought that was a kind of a neat scene when he goes home and then like he checks his little sister to see if she has the eyes and she doesn't. And then he asks Hinata about it and like she explains all the things it can do.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's pretty clear he doesn't quite understand what's happening with his eye.
Yeah.
Yeah, he has to go back and ask Hinata, who, by the way, looks younger in this show than she did in Shippuden.
I wouldn't say that. I mean, she looks young, but not younger.
She's nailing the voice, though. She sounds like a mom now.
Yeah, I do think the way that Stephanie Sheh kind of altered the voice now, like it still sounds like Hinata, but
compared to Naruto's voice actress, who was just doing the exact same voice.
Yeah.
I actually
disturbing.
I feel like she's doing the same voice, but then it's like she's got a cold. That's kind of what it sounds like to me.
But that's what Naruto already was.
Yeah, but just a little bit more. I mean, like it's a little. She's trying to go a little deeper, I think.
Now he has pneumonia.
Yeah. Well, he hasn't. Naruto honestly hasn't said that much, so it's kind of hard to get a feel on it. Like Hinata has said more than
his
Naruto.
lines have been. Paperwork.
Well, that's because Hinata's at home and
too tired.
Naruto was never around.
Yeah. I don't mind the idea of just keeping the same voice actors for like continuity, but I wonder how much consideration they gave to recasting. Like if they always knew that they were just going to keep the same voice actress, or if they even thought like it's a chance.
I think it's a Goku situation.
It's also one of those things like
where they just can't.
Maybe it just sounds like a good idea to us without actually like seeing it. Like they should have recast them, but would any new voice sound right?
Well, no, and maybe not. But I don't even think that's the issue. I think there's too high. It's again the Goku situation. You risk pissing off diehards when the voice changes.
Oh, you're right. Yeah,
because
they still have like the same old lady playing Goku.
Yeah, Goku in Japanese, like in Super, just sounds ridiculous.
Yeah,
he sounds like a 6-year-old.
Well, yeah, they haven't changed his voice since he was 6.
Yes, it's awful. And the video games and everywhere, like Goku just does not sound like an adult at all.
Right.
It's awful. So I think that. Yeah, they probably, and with Naruto, if they were going to change the voice, they probably should have did it in Shippuden.
Right.
Yeah.
Because, that was when the voice was going to crack and do more changing, but they hardly changed it all there, so.
All that really did was that she basically just was like, or Naruto was basically just like, dour all the time.
Mm-hmm. Well, we'll see when he has more things to say.
Yeah, it's not an easy task. I don't envy her,
Right.
Next week's episode sure seems like more of the same.
Wait, what is it? What's the title?
Well, all I saw was a preview, which was basically just,
someone said something like Battle of the Sexes, like.
That's right.
That sounds amazing.
It's the boys versus the girls in some kind of thing.
Yeah, we haven't seen much of like Sarada yet. Like she wasn't really in the last episode at all. So
I'm just waiting for her arc because it's going to be so good.
I've heard a lot of people say too that they really like this Chocho character a lot, which is Sarada's friend, who's like the daughter of Choji.
Mm-hmm.
I guess
they say that she's like really a good character in this show.
Am I the only one who's been kind of weirded out by... I mean, you remember the first episode, they had that, like, whole thing where Boruto lost an eye, and it's, like, super edgy, and everything was destroyed, and he's having to fight, and he's sideways, and it's all that, and now it's, like, after-school special shit. I'm like... I just feel like there's going to be tonal whiplash at some point, and I'm just kind of bracing myself for it.
Yeah, I think that what we saw in that first 2 minutes of the first episode is not something that's going to appear for 15 years. If the show runs that long, you know what I mean? Like, it's just, I feel like that's supposed to be end game stuff.
Yeah, it's just one of those things where it feels like they're going to have to work their way there eventually, but it's such a huge tonal shift from where we are right now that it's going to be absolutely insane.
Well, it would be appropriate insofar as if they wanted to kind of mimic what had happened before.
I guess, but even at the same time, Naruto was still like, it was never quite as happy-go-lucky as this has been.
Mm. Well, like, it's even in the time.
Well, yeah, I know.
Post-war, Leaf Village, where everything is nice.
This is the baby boom era.
Yeah,
I
it literally
guess.
is.
Yeah, I guess it just sort of like, Naruto almost died in the first episode and that kind of thing, and it set a specific tone. And this is kind of like, look how dark and edgy this is, and now it's like, and now for something completely different.
I figure it'll slowly
It'll get there
to a
eventually.
storyline, but yeah.
Yeah, we really haven't even seen a villain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the first couple of episodes of like any long running show are always,
right.
There's probably a TV tropes page for this, or like early show out of these weirdness.
Early installment weirdness.
Yeah, where they're just trying to get a feel for how things are going to be.
Yeah,
so
like Riker hasn't grown the beard yet.
Yep.
I've been watching TNG lately, actually.
Well, like, it's so weird. Like, before and after he gets the beard is a completely different show. Like, no, it's just one of those things where, I get that, but at the same time, it kind of feels like that sort of locks in not only where they can go, but our own expectations in a way that might not be good for the future unless they're willing to just throw that out at some point.
Yeah, I honestly, you may know more about this show than I do, B-Dubs, but my recommendation is to ignore that happened.
Yeah. I kind of feel like the best thing for this show would be like with Gurren Lagann, where they had that sort of same kind of scene at the beginning of the first episode. Then they're like, oh yeah, no, we completely forgot we did that in the first place. So, fuck it.
There are 216 posts in this thread about YouTube being down in 20 minutes.
Oh no!
Well, yeah, that's about how it goes.
Does this mean we have to record the podcast until YouTube comes back up?
Yeah.
Oh God!
Please, I just want to die.
Well, I mean, we still have time, I guess. We're only like 3 episodes in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just waiting. Wait, when is that Boruto Gaiden arc gonna hit?
No idea.
I hope it's soon.
Anyway, Dragon Ball Super. Dragon Ball Super episode 83, Field, the All 7th Universe team. Who are the Mighty 10? Well, I guess one of them has to be Vegeta.
Well, yeah, who else?
But he won't go anywhere until his baby is born.
Problem solved.
And then, okay, I have to quote someone from this thread. Echidna said this, and I loved it. It was my favorite thing of the whole night. He said, Whis gave Bulma a divine C-section.
You just gotta zap that baby into existence. How do they know that's even
slams the door open, walks up to Bulma, and is like, "Pop," and nobody is really that weirded out by it.
Well,
except I mean, they got us in the thread where everybody was like, "What the fuck?"
Well, I mean, they have Dragon Balls, so I presume if this was really going to be a thing, they'd have just tracked him down and.
But even Bulma should have been like, "Oh my god!"
Well, yeah, it's like I guess she was like, well, I mean, she's already been pregnant, so I guess at this point she's like, at least I don't have to give birth this time.
Does her belly just immediately collapse?
That's what I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he may have done her a favor. Maybe reducing stretch marks.
Yeah. No recovery time. Just.
Yeah, she can get right to it.
Easiest pregnancy ever.
They got to keep him around later.
And people kept showing up, and it's like, oh, is that Bulla? And it's like, dude, aren't you freaked out that it's just there?
Oh, you had your baby in the last 5 minutes. I've been out of the room. Okay.
Wait, I went to go get a bottle of water. I did not realize, it took that short amount of time.
Gotta go check my phone. Be right back. Oh, the baby's here.
Like, Goku probably thinks that's how all babies are born because he wasn't there for any of his kids. And Chi-Chi's probably going to be like, are you fucking kidding me? I have to push 2 of these spiky-haired idiots out.
And by the way, the hair is very solid.
Yes.
Anyway, Vegeta wants a really awesome traditional Saiyan name, but the name is Bulla, so screw you, Vegeta. Or, I'm sorry, Bra.
The name he wanted was like Echelot.
Echelot. Which is way cooler.
Yeah, it is, but who can even pronounce that?
Well, maybe her name is like Bulla Echelot, whatever Bulma's last name
Trunks.
is.
Is Bulma's last name Briefs?
Yeah.
Yes.
Everyone's named after underwear.
Well, like her dad is Dr. Briefs, so Briefs is their last name.
I guess you're right. I never thought about that.
Well, the thing is, like, did Vegeta have a last name?
No,
Vegeta's like
the Saiyans
Prince.
don't have last names. Do
Yeah,
Vegeta is literally the name of my son, the planet, or me.
Yes. Like, I'm surprised they didn't name the race Vegeta at this point.
Excuse me, Vegeta, and King Vegeta's like, what? Prince Vegeta's like, what? Planet's like, what?
What? Frieza, he's going to destroy Vegeta. My son, the planet, or me.
Yes.
Just
Speaking
like the air.
Speaking of Dr. Trunks, he and his wife both showed up for this precious moment.
Yep.
We get to hear her cool accent again. Oh, you got a little baby, do you?
You're my little grandchild. I still look like I'm 21.
Yeah. It's like they never age.
I do feel that, like, there was a small little scene, like, after Bolo was born, where Trunks, he was, like, showing that he was upset because there was this little sister instead of a little brother.
Yeah.
And like they wanted him to hold the baby, which, that's kind of a thing that brothers that, like, older brothers or sisters that age, like, I felt like it captured that moment pretty well.
Yeah.
And then, like, he goes up to his dad. His dad is, being
his dad,
Sundari, and then all of a sudden he's like, "No, you're holding her wrong." Like, let me show you how you hold a baby.
Vegeta is both secretly excited about having a child and absolutely outwardly upset and disgruntled about it.
He doesn't want people to know how, like, I don't know, probably how proud he is about his baby.
This is how a true Saiyan warrior holds a little baby.
Yeah.
Anyway, there's in this episode, they also were like, we should take Krillin, and people are like, really? Krillin?
and
Yamcha.
Goku's like, he's been training.
And Yamcha blatantly shows up and is like, hey, everybody, it's Yamcha. And everyone's just like, shut up.
They're totally going to pick
poor
me.
Yamcha.
Yamcha's totally in the opening, and not a bunch of people who want Yamcha.
Oh, Yamcha.
They're going to pick Master Roshi.
Hey, Master Roshi's a tricky old man.
What didn't they say he's like 180 or something?
I think they said centuries of experience, so they implied he's more than 100 years old.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, I mean,
centuries implies multiple hundreds.
Yes.
Most of that time spent in prison for sexual assault.
That sounds about right. That explains why he's on the deserted island. He's hiding from the cops.
It was the deserted island was supposed to be like underwater by now, but for whatever reason, no. It's
a very severe restraining order against multiple people.
That's why it has Kami written on it. It's like to alert people. It's like, this is where he's at.
The island is the only place in the world where the 5 million restraining orders against him don't overlap.
That explains why when Goku was younger, he had to dress up as someone else to leave the island.
Nobody watched Dragon Ball.
Nobody did. Goku still hasn't figured that out.
Anyway, the entire universe's team has to be from the single planet because they can't go around gathering people.
Because everyone else is dead.
Well, also, no.
But what about Monaka?
Oh, that was funny.
Oh,
they're keeping that joke alive.
Poor Monaka.
They did say something like there are only like 7 or 8 planets in the whole 6th universe that have people.
No, I think they said 28.
Or 28. Okay, there's not that many, regardless.
Well, like Frieza blew a bunch of guys up, and Boo blew a bunch of guys up, and
I don't think 28 planets is that unreasonable a number. Like, yeah, there's probably like thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of planets, but chances are like 99.
You're really, really way off. Well, I mean, there are billions of planets in our universe.
Well, I don't know if we're talking about like a universe or a galaxy here.
No, the whole universe.
The universe.
Oh, the whole universe. I was thinking
it's a ridiculously small number. Let's just put it.
But anyways, like what percentage of planets are inhabitable? Like probably a really tiny,
tiny
percent.
You ever heard of the Drake's equation?
No.
Okay, well, look it up later. If you put in a lot of really big values into this equation, assuming there's more, or I'm sorry, if you put in a lot of really small values into this equation for things, and it's like how many planets are in the habitable region zone, how many of them have life, how many of them have intelligence life, how many have intelligence life that haven't destroyed themselves. You put all these numbers in there, and there's still like millions and millions of worlds in our universe that could have intelligent life. So there's only 28 in this one, I guess.
Well, it also kind of showed how like Supreme Kai doesn't seem to know anything.
No, I mean him and Beerus are just completely useless at their jobs.
Oh yeah, he's pretty point. The only thing he's good for is teleporting people around.
Oh yeah, no, I mean Supreme Kai's good at teleporting, and Beerus is good for literally nothing.
Sunny Straight just posted a little thing where he's doing Usopp, yelling about Usopp Tube, the worst YouTube compet.
Oh God!
I have no idea what I'm saying. My mouth is making words.
Yeah, no. What was it? But yeah, I mean, you'd think Beerus would be like, oh, hey, this Majin Buu thing, maybe I should take care of it before it destroys. Oh, there goes half the universe.
I'm asleep.
Yeah. And then it's, oh, there's Frieza taking over the universe and blowing a bunch of people up. Maybe I should. No, I will let him do it. I will subcontract my job out.
Yeah. I will say one thing I noticed about this episode too, though, is that they brought those thick lines back.
Yeah.
It looked pretty good. I like when they do that. I don't know why. It's just I prefer that look in this show.
Yeah,
it's a good look.
Yeah.
Well, anyway.
Main event time?
Yep, main event time.
Oh, boy.
Fully Coolly Alternative, Episode 6. Full Flat. In this episode, I don't know.
It's Fully Coolly, nobody knows.
Speaking of Super Saiyans.
Yep.
Wait, didn't DeMarco say apparently this was a prequel to the original Fully Coolly?
Well, if you remember, this was supposed to be a prequel, and it's like, what?
Wait, what? I'm like, where did that even come from? Now I'm even more confused than I was. And I was pretty confused.
Yeah, they went the Evangelion, end of Evangelion route here. It's just sort of like a mindfuck. It's like, what's happening? It wasn't bad. I will say this: it wasn't bad, and I did like I like the characterization of Kana in this episode. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's just like she opens a wormhole, some stuff happens. We see this post or during credits ending where it doesn't make sense. Apparently, everything's back to normal, but it's not the same because there's a flattened Earth in the sky. What is going on?
Are they on Mars?
Something happened.
What?
Something happened, and we are not, as the audience, let in on what happened.
It's just that Windows error. Something happened. Something happened.
Like, I expect this all to make a bit more sense on a second viewing. Now that we know what happened and we can try and kind of piece it together like original Fully Coolly. Somebody
mentioned that, and I had forgotten this, that in the very first episode, within the very first few minutes of the very first episode, we get a shot of Haruko standing on Mars. And I didn't remember that until they mentioned it, and I'm like, that didn't appear in the opening episode. Yeah. So there's something going on.
Yeah, it feels like something was going to happen to Earth, and they were going to get all the rich and famous people off, and everyone else would be screwed. And then whatever happened, and yet everyone is still okay.
Second Earth.
Yeah. I feel like they are on Mars or something, but it's going to take another
dimension, or I don't know.
And they can see
the thing that makes me think it's not Mars because Earth is super close.
Yeah, it's like way too big in the sky. I don't know.
Maybe they are on the moon.
Now,
but it's still too close. whatever.
As a character thing, I actually do think it was actually a decent idea. One of the themes they wanted to clearly touch on in this season was the part of growing up where you realize like that every person goes through, that adolescence is temporary. Like that's something that I don't think the original Fooly Cooley really touched on, like specifically that part of growing up.
Well, it was the start of it.
The original Fooly Cooley?
It was all about puberty, man.
Well, but yeah, that's the thing. I'm not like talking about like this, like your life as an adolescent is a temporary thing that is going to end, and it has nothing to do with your thought process or your tastes or things like that. Maybe a little bit, but just that things are going to change, and like this kind of this theme of static versus dynamic things are not going to always be this way, and I feel like that was a appropriate choice as a theme to touch on in a Fooly Cooley sequel, because it was something I don't think the original. Sure, there might have been maybe some elements of it, but it wasn't like the focal point. In fact, at the end of the original Fooly Cooley, it's kind of like back to normal. Like things are the same. But anyways, I what I'm getting at is I feel like that was something that was worth exploring and still fit the theme of growing up in a different way.
Yeah, it's basically the story of like coming to terms with the fact that you can't stay a kid. Not so much that you're growing up, but that you're like you can't keep that childhood lifestyle anymore. You have to give it up.
Yeah, and like Kana was saying very specifically, like I wanted things to always be this way, and she even says in one of her monologues that like I knew things were going to change. I knew that this couldn't stay like this forever, but I ignored it. That's because that's a childish thing to do. Just just kind of you don't think about it. You don't want to think about it.
Yeah, and that monologue she gave. I mean, I really liked how they tied that back to the first episode, because she said almost exactly the same thing as she said in the first episode, which is also confusing too, because it's like we're left with an ending where things haven't changed. So it's, but not barely.
That's kind of what I was getting at. Is they take this theme, and then they try to tie it into Fooly Cooley, and she stands on top of some car and she's telling everyone she loves them, and like that was a little awkward to me. Like I don't get what it was exactly getting at, and then because of like her determination or something, she is able to manipulate this NO power of Fooly Cooley and create this wormhole. So I don't really get how they went from this theme to this event, and how they tied these sort of things together. I'm not sure I understand the flow there.
I will say. Go ahead.
No, you go.
I was going to say I definitely feel like. I feel like there is maybe something here that I didn't get. Where unlike with Progressive, where you can see through Progressive, like you can see that Progressive did things and there wasn't a reason behind it. Like it felt like there's no deep meaning here. It's just wacky and weird. Yeah. And this, I feel like, you know what? I could probably watch Alternate again, and I might understand it better. There might be something I didn't pick up on, and I like that. I definitely feel like while as much as I'm confused about this ending's what actually happened, I think that there's deeper stuff going on here that can be explored.
Right. Like I was going to say in response to Sada's whole thing is that I think sort of listening to you talk and thinking about sort of the time frame in which these characters' lives, because they are very much at this point, I think, high schoolers, about to go off to college or university or whatever they're going, and like thinking about the different planets and stuff, how they see the flat Earth over there, and then they're on the new Earth, and it's just kind of like maybe it's more metaphorical type of a thing where nothing's really changed because nothing's changed, but you can't go back to where you were. Like their adolescence at the end of the film is over. Like they've graduated from that, and they are now at least at the start of being adults, and they've left that world behind, and they can look back on it and see what it is or it was, but they can never return. Like maybe that's the whole point of them being on the new planet and seeing the old one up there like that.
That's an interesting idea. I mean, like, it certainly could explain what literally can't be explained.
Yeah.
So like you're saying that the state of the planet is basically a metaphor for Kana's like position in life, like
yeah,
as she becomes an adult in a sense, or at least starts that journey, she's now in a new life and literally on a new world.
Yeah, like it's because like when I look back on my own sort of adolescence, which I have been doing a lot of lately because, grad school for education and stuff. And I just kind of see that, it is very much a different world for, the kids in school and everything they're going through. Like, we can relate, but it's, it's kind of like we're looking at them from a different planet.
It's an interesting idea. I won't fault you on the metaphorical aspect of it. I could see that. I mean, I honestly, really, at this point, I think I've said my piece on the ending of this show because I feel like, honestly, I need to see it again. Yeah. Only having seen it once, I just feel like there must be. I feel like I could learn something if I watched it a second time. So
no, I feel like at this point, connecting this to the original Fooly Cooly does feel unnecessary.
Like, yeah, I agree with that. I don't know. He could have never said that, and I'd been fine. I don't think connecting it.
Like we found the person who was like, you know what, this show could use lore.
Yeah, it's like this show could be even more confusing. God damn it.
One thing I will say, that I noticed when we watched Progressive, is if you watch the end credits of Progressive, the order that the characters appear are in the order that DeMarco says the timeline is.
So, alternative, Fooly Cooly, Progressive?
Correct. That's the order that the characters appear on that big collage at the end.
So where does Fooly Cooly take place? New Earth? Mars?
An alternate dimension?
Yes.
I mean, don't forget that Haruko was literally sucked through a wormhole along with the bike.
Right.
And someone did point out in the thread, too, and I kind of feel like I don't want to keep talking about this because I feel like I'm going to get this wrong, but, like, she didn't have the bike the whole time. Unlike in later Fooly Coolies where she always had her bike.
Yeah.
Like, the bike was the Soba Shop's delivery bike. She just happened to ride it in this episode.
Yeah, like she didn't really have the bike before, I think.
Right.
The origin story of the bike.
It's kind of like the bike was introduced to be hers at the end of this episode. So anyway, maybe in more viewings I'll notice her riding it earlier in the season, but I actually feel like she didn't ride it at all in the whole season until the final episode, which could kind of make sense if this was a prequel. So I don't know. But it also doesn't make sense that this is a prequel if everyone has smartphones, and then in Fooly Cooly original they don't.
Hey, don't worry. Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift just takes... I can totally believe that school is just really into flip phones as a style.
Oh, absolutely.
Every kid in her school has a
Fooly
flip phone.
Cooly, now the Tokyo Drift of the Fooly Cooly verse. Fooly Cooly Tokyo Drift.
Anything else you want to talk about in this episode before we go to the ranking?
I did like that Pet straight up did not come back.
You liked that Pets did not show up. Yeah,
Yes.
they're really sticking to their guns, right?
That kind of feels like it matches the growing out of adolescence thing, where none of us are friends with all of our friends from high school anymore. I highly doubt it. So that it might have been a little bit too on the nose, and we can argue if Pets was established well enough beforehand. But I do think that at least fits along the line that friendships do die as you grow up. So.
Also, like, in a way, never having Pets very well established really does make her whole revelation that much more of I think much more impactful. Because if she had suddenly changed characterization, that would feel unjustified. Whereas we just didn't understand her. We didn't know her because we never got a chance to know her.
Yeah, it's one of those things. I think you can come up with an argument either way that, like, because she was not very present in the first 4 episodes, it's hard to maybe understand the feelings that fifth episode had. But then you might argue, like you just said, if it was like a sudden random heel turn instead, like let's say they were really, really obvious best friends beforehand, and then she just kind of randomly lashed out afterwards, it might feel more incongruent. So I think you could maybe argue either way, but it's I totally understand where you're coming from. It's one of those things like I just kind of want to watch it again and kind of see how she's.
I was about to say
portrayed.
the same thing. I think everyone who's going to watch this again is going to really be watching Pets pretty closely.
Break out the microscope, point it directly at Pets. Did her mouth twitch? What was that?
I don't know.
What is
Somebody's
that?
microphone's messing up.
Is that mine?
No, it's B-Dubs.
B-Dubs. B-Dubs, he's turning into Conti.
Oh no!
B-Dubs, just in case it's not clear, we cannot understand you. You sound like R2-D2 or something.
Hang on.
Oh, there we go.
Okay, you understood that.
Okay, how about
If you are saying something, we can't hear you.
We should have said nothing.
Yeah, it would have been great.
B-Dubs, what's your ranking?
Can you hear me?
Yes. Yeah, we can hear you now.
Okay. What the hell was that even? Like it came out of fucking nowhere.
Yeah, you started sounding like R2-D2 or something.
I thought it was
like the robot dude from Super.
Or almost like an old dial-up modem.
Yeah, you guys were sounding weird too, and I'm like, what
Maybe you
the
just had a
hell?
dip in your connection.
Probably related to YouTube.
No, because we're fine.
Well,
Okay.
I mean, I'm just joking. It could be. I don't know. Well, one other thing we learned is that Haruko is 19 and that she never ages.
I think didn't they say that in the original?
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah.
maybe. I don't know. I don't think so.
I thought I remember like already knowing that she was younger than we would expect. Like she looks like she's in her 20s.
In the original, Mamimi assumed that Haruko was like 20 something.
Yeah, maybe that's it.
So anyway, whatever. I just thought I'd mention that aliens don't age.
But she's not actually 19, but she supposedly
has the form of one. Yeah.
Yeah, whatever that importance that has. So yeah.
Before you say that, I want to say I did like the Kana transformation scene where she got all badass. I wish something cooler would have happened, but it was a really cool look to see her like all lit up and everything.
Now, is that a reference to Die Buster? Am I
Probably.
I think that's just because the hair is a similar looking.
Okay.
Is that the Adamus symbol on her forehead?
Yeah, so. That symbol is also, it's the same symbol. And apparently that symbol is a rough version of like the hiragana or kanji for like child or something like that. I read once. Or adult. It's something like that, child or adult. It means something like that. But yeah, that's the same symbol that did appear on the screen in the original.
I think we can hear somebody typing.
I'm sorry, I'm junioring this guy.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Grex. Go ahead.
No. So is that everything for alternative?
I think that's all that happened in this episode I can really comment on.
All right. Let's review and rank it. Everyone got their show ranking list up?
Yes.
Let me do it right now.
Can you DM it to me?
It was linked in the chat earlier.
How the hell do I get that back up? Use my phone. Oh, I can get in from here.
Okay. Yeah, I've got it.
Hello, anonymous axolotl.
Hang on, no, it's not the account I want to use. Damn it, how do I log in anonymously?
You will appear anonymously.
No, because it's about to say I'm about to join a hangout on air. And I'm just... Damn it.
How do you do this from your phone anyway?
I just press the button. It's getting the stuff you send me that sucks. Can you just DM it to me on Twitter or something?
Yes.
Thank you. Because I used to have it bookmarked, and then all mine went away. So.
That's a random YouTube thumbnail. God damn it. It's a link to porn.
God damn it.
Enjoy.
There it is. I DM'd it to you.
All right, here we go.
It was the link to a tweet I posted.
Oh, there we go.
The damn site is gone.
Yeah.
That one.
YouTube thumbnails Twitter account. It's gone. Anyway, okay. Say to insert the robot list here.
Why do I do that?
See, Kohler, insert the robot list here.
Yeah, Seda. All right, it's been inserted.
Yay. So, some brief thoughts. So, brief thoughts about Fully Cooley Alternative overall. I really, really liked the main cast.
Oh, that's a lot of fun.
It's obviously going to rank higher than Progressive. That's like the most obvious.
Yeah, I mean, it's not going to be as high as original Fully Cooley, but it's definitely higher than Progressive.
Yes.
I think that the original Fully Cooley was a smarter show, and I think it's definitely better animated.
Yeah, better presentation. That's honestly a big portion. That's a big advantage, leg up that the original Fully Cooley had. That while Alternative wasn't as poorly drawn as Progressive, like Progressive just looked outright bad in some episodes.
Yeah.
It's definitely not that same flair.
Now, the good news, though, is that I think that Alternative has, like you said, an amazing cast that were instantly charismatic, and
I maybe like them more than the Fully Cooley cast.
Kind of with you there. If not, they're on the same level to me. They're really good.
I'd rather watch these people, but with the animation and style of the original Fully Cooley.
Yeah.
That would be better than Fully Cooley.
Yeah.
But I do think they kind of flubbed the ending a bit.
Just a little?
The ending was it wasn't as exciting as it could have been. I felt like it was more confusing than exciting. Stuff was happening and you were supposed to be excited about it, but because of Kana's speech and the kind of, I don't know, for lack of a better term, how deep it was, I was just more confused than feeling excited about it. Also, the music wasn't used, I think, in this final episode as well as it could have been.
Yeah, they kind of blew it a bit.
And then they started the episode with "I Think I Can" or whatever.
Yeah, and
it's
also,
do they really not know how to use that song anymore?
Right. It was sort of shoehorned in a little bit, and then the whole episode just beginning with a Haruko fight out of nowhere, also just felt really I don't know. I just didn't think. I didn't think it was terrible. I didn't think it was bad. I just felt like could have been better.
I mean, the thing that we're all drawn to are Kana and her friends. I think sometimes they, especially this was very obvious in Progressive, they're really trying to push Haruko on us. You all love Haruko, right? And it's well, she's okay, but we really don't. We don't want that to be the focus.
Yeah, and this show did a lot better job of that, where Haruko was just in the background most of the time.
Yeah, except for that, how they started that last episode, like you mentioned, oh, we're starting with Haruko. Okay.
Last episode, they were and we can't help ourselves. It's very Haruko-centric again. Look, it's the origin story of Haruko and the Vespa. We overlaid Fully Cooley scenes onto her, and it's okay, I literally just dropped a point for that.
Yeah, I want to say this last episode, once the credits started rolling, I felt to myself this felt like notes to me, where up until this, from episode 1 to 5, the director was doing their vision, and then someone came in and said, "Well, we want you to do this in the final episode. Put more of this in there." That's kind of what it felt like, because it didn't feel the theme had kind of shifted somehow, or the tone. But anyway, I agree with you, Grex. I'm gonna have to dock it a little bit for the final episode, but nothing like Progressive. Progressive's final episode destroyed it.
Progressive's final episode was Well, any chance you had of being good was gone.
Yeah, Progressive's final episode like retroactively made the rest of the show worse, I think.
Yeah.
Where this one is more of just a misstep.
Did not nail the landing.
Yeah, it's
right.
Yeah,
it landed, but not gracefully.
And maybe I still am not quite sure about the penultimate episode.
Yeah.
I like that one, but
it's like anyway. I wish we had.
We should just wait to rank it until the rerun.
No,
I'm joking.
No.
Anyway, I said before we started recording, I have no idea where this is going to go. I mean, obviously, it has to go somewhere between FLCL and FLCL Progressive, but that's like that's a top and bottom of our list.
I mean, that's number 2 and number 36.
That's a pretty big gap.
Yeah.
So Progressive is in between. Progressive is near the bottom. Fully Cooley is at the very top. I think Alternative's pretty much smack dab in the middle.
I mean, I would say it's better than.
I'm looking somewhere around the range of Symbionic Titan to Hellsing Ultimate, somewhere in there.
I think Symbionic Titan is the upper range where I say put it above this, you're insane.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
So that's
then anything all the way down to
Eureka 7.
It's better than It's at the least better than IBO.
Look, I don't agree with this.
We're in the range around 18 to 24 or so.
Yeah, I don't like Symbionic Titan more than Fully Cooley Alternative, but Big O, Shampoo, and Soul Eater, all 3 of those shows are better for sure. I think maybe not Big O, but like Shampoo and Soul Eater are like way better shows than Alternative to me.
If Shampoo was shorter, I would say I think it's too long for its own good, but I'm not gonna. That's more on Shampoo than this.
And it might just be my own personal taste, but yeah, I like Symbiotic Titan, but not as much as the characters in this show.
I think Symbionic Titan might just be, on average, higher in this list than where you would place it.
I think that's true. I'm not a big Gendy fan, so.
Why don't we start at Kill la Kill and see how far up we go?
Did we like Alternative more or less than Kill la Kill on average?
More.
I liked it more.
Oh my god, you guys. Well, first of all, Kill la Kill is way too freaking low on this list.
No, it's not.
No, it's too high.
I know. I'm never going to win this argument, but for me, that Kill la Kill is like Soul Eater tier to me. So
no, like for me, Soul Eater is too high on this list.
Oh God, no.
Yes, that ending sequence is horrid.
Yeah, anyway. Soul Eater might be due for a drop in a few places.
It was so good up until episode 30. If you get 30 great episodes, though,
the problem is there's still 20 not good ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do we plan on like rearranging this list at any point
at the 10-year anniversary?
So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to, since I am obviously a little jaded on some of the places on this list, I'm going to let you guys kind of whittle this down, and then if I have something, I'll chime in, because I actually, I'm not sure.
Do I like it better than Dragon Ball Z Kai? I don't know.
I would say so.
Yeah, because the whole Boo thing, a large part of it is not good.
I soured a bit on the Cell Saga, and the Boo Saga I didn't like gain any extra appreciation for really. And so that's a really big chunk of Dragon Ball Z Kai I'm kind of indifferent towards. Like I like the Saiyan Saga, I like the Frieza Saga, mostly drags on a little bit, and I do like the start of the Android stuff, but it just kind of falters after that.
Well, like as soon as Cell goes perfect, it kind of.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, like, for me personally, I might put it above Inuyasha.
I feel like I appreciate everything from Dragon Ball Up more than Alternative.
So, okay, Hellsing Ultimate is ranked right above Dragon Ball Z Kai at number 22.
Right.
I remember Hellsing Ultimate, I was really into it for like the first 5 or 6 of the episodes. How many were there total? 10, right?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. No,
I thought it was 10. I thought we saw 8 of them, and then there was like the last.
You're right.
2.
It was 10.
Yeah.
I remember Hellsing. It kind of faltered near the end. The way that they kind of, Alucard was.
He was on the boat for like 3 or 4 episodes.
He was clearly like an overpowered main character, and then the way they kind of handled that was a little bit weird. And then like the ending to that whole series, it just was very awkwardly done. I mean, getting to the specifics, like that cat boy, like did some weird Schrodinger, like, what do you call
weird
that?
Nazi cat boy was the linchpin to the whole plot.
Yeah, and like this weird paradox sort of thing where it's like, you can't heal yourself because I put my head in your blood, or like your army of undead, however vampires work.
Yeah, it was kind of bullshit.
Very weird and awkward, and like,
I'm the Major and I'm talking.
So that's, I think, why Hellsing was, it kind of had a cool style, cool vibe. Some really great moments with Saris. Is that her name?
Yeah,
she was great.
I like her.
End. So that's why it's sort of in the middle here. Now, Eureka 7 is, some people really, really, really love this show. Some people really, really, really hate this show.
I think the opening couple of episodes sort of make it worse than it really should be, because the Renton what's his name dynamic, the gray-haired guy, can't fucking remember his name,
voiced by Crispy Free.
Yeah, Crispy Free guy, and like that dynamic doesn't work at all for what feels like half the series.
See, I have mixed thoughts on this.
Yeah, because like Crispy Free is a giant asshole for part of it, and then Renton is like also like a little baby for the same amount of time.
The characters in that show are very dynamic. They change a lot from beginning to end.
Yeah.
So then the argument is, did it take them too long to change?
I think that would be my argument.
So
I think if they change faster, that show is higher on the list.
Anyways, to kind of truncate this, we don't want to review every single show on here. These shows are sort of in the middle because they have these good elements to them, but there's some mixed impressions otherwise that sort of bring them down a bit from the top 15. So I feel like Alternative fits in here somewhere. Just
How about we determine if it's above or below Eureka 7?
It's close. Now, Attack on Titan is sitting right above that at 20, and that was
I would not put Attack on Titan below Alternative.
Attack on Titan, was that re-ranked after season 2?
Yes.
Or no? So
it went up a couple spots.
So that might go up more, assuming season 3 doesn't.
Season 3 so far, I think, is more of a holding pattern. It's like it didn't change.
Yeah,
I do think season 3 is not bringing it down.
Right. I think my thing with Attack on Titan is that I don't think that the second season, because half of Attack on Titan is really bad, and the other half is fairly good.
I mean, like where we are right now, like I think a lot of us really like where they've taken Historia's character and how they built that into the plot. I mean, I don't want to talk for you, but it seems like that's the vibe I got.
I agree.
Yeah, so I might put it above Inuyasha at the end of the season.
Inuyasha might be too high, to be honest.
No, I mean, I think like what we were saying when we were ranking everything is like Inuyasha to Kai is kind of this popcorn show tier, where it's like, if you need something to watch and like it's not trying to reach for anything really great, and it's not like irredeemably bad or anything. Or maybe it was IBO to Inuyasha, but it's sort of that stretch of like popcorn tier shows.
I mean, my personal thought is Attack on Titan season 3, as long as it doesn't like shoot itself in the foot in the next couple of episodes or in the next half of the season, I'd probably bump it up a few spots.
We're not re-ranking Attack on Titan until like the second half of season 1.
That makes sense.
Right, yeah.
So again, I think Fooly Cooly Alternative fits in here somewhere.
Like the thing I will say about Alternative is that it wasn't bad for half of its run.
I mean, the first 4 episodes were all pretty solid.
I think only the first half of season 1 of Attack on Titan was what you would call mostly not great.
Right,
but
but
when the
even
female Titan shows up, that's all really good stuff.
Yeah, so like
but that's season 2.
Third. No,
it's season 2 is just that. Is just.
I'm pretty sure that was season 2.
The female Titan is basically the last third of the first season.
Okay. So it's about a quarter of, or to a third of Attack on Titan was just outright not good.
Anyways, I don't think I'd put Fooly Cooly above Attack on Titan, even as it is right now.
Because of season 2.
So. But yeah, of season 2 and what we've seen of season 3 so far.
I don't think we can count season 3 yet.
Nope, we can't.
I mean,
no.
Okay.
Well, if we were counting season 3, I'd say no. But we aren't. We're not counting season 3 yet, so that's sort of why I'm like, yeah, I think for now it goes right above it.
No, I think it goes above Eureka 7.
Okay, but either above or below Attack on Titan here at number 20.
Right.
All right, so we're gonna have to take votes.
It's either going to be 20 or 21, I think.
I mean, I'm not sure if I'd place it above Eureka 7, to be honest.
I mean, honestly, if not for Renton and Holland, that's the
Holland,
that's the fucker's name. Like, if not for how fucked that dynamic was for a good half of the series, and how we all just hated both of their guts. Like, if they had developed, 50% faster, that show would be way higher, I think.
Now, thinking to myself here, one thing that I am sort of nonplussed about with Eureka 7 is how it does quite literally end with the power of love, like the literal power of love.
I liked that.
No, I sort of like that, but it does, I can't help but feel it is kind of corny.
It is kind of corny, but they had the whole summer of love thing, and
kind of did the same thing.
Yeah,
it did. Like, honestly, the more I think about the two shows, they did do a lot of things, the same thematically, like with the whole the whole adolescence thing. It's just a matter of which one do we think did a better job with that.
It's hard to compare, though, because Eureka 7 is 50 episodes or whatever.
Yeah,
and this is 6.
Exactly.
Like, some of those later moments in Eureka 7, I do think land really well. Like, and they probably only work because of how they're built up to.
Yeah.
Like, there's like the scenes I remember. The episode Morning Glory is a big one. That's basically where Renton saves Eureka, and that's basically where they acknowledge that they love each other.
Yeah. That was fantastic.
Eureka 7's a Bones show.
It is.
Yeah, so that means the animation is basically very consistent the whole way through with some great moments.
And the music and the music was fantastic too.
The music was fantastic, and
that too.
Well, alternative music is mostly good, except there are a couple of moments in that last episode, or maybe the last 2 episodes, where the Pillows music was maybe not used quite as well.
I think it was used pretty thorough. I think it was used pretty well, except for that one fighting scene where it felt off. That was the only time.
Right. Okay. So
I'm kind of wondering if we place alternative above Eureka 7. The Eureka 7 fans are going to be very mad, maybe.
I mean, like, the more we talk about it, the more I'm like, it did a lot of the same stuff. It had a lot of the same strengths, but I feel
like it is similar, like in terms of...
Like, it did the music thing well. They were both well animated. They had, thematically, they did a lot of the same work. Like, I think having the two next to each other is, sort of right, and I'm okay with putting it right below. Like, I'm not going to fight that too hard the more I think about it.
I think the way I'm leaning right now is I would put it below Eureka 7. I would put alternative below it. Even though I have my misgivings with Eureka 7, but I think it has stronger moments. I mean, it's maybe a little unfair because it had more time to build up to them and had more chances for moments.
Comparing a 50-episode show to a 6-episode.
Yeah, I mean that's the issue with this whole list. Is some of these shows are 50 episodes. Some of them are 200 episodes. So.
Yeah.
Quick, compare Naruto to the entire run of one. Quick, compare alternative. Why did I say Naruto?
Well, compare Naruto to, I don't know, One Punch Man, like just an episode count. Yeah,
we did.
Yes, which One Punch Man is sitting at number 5.
That One Punch Man is way better.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I think I'm agreeing with Seda right now. Below Eureka 7 and above Hellsing, with the caveat that Eureka 7 does have its definite issues.
I'm also leaning towards, like, if I'm leaning towards placing it above or below, just by placing it below by default to try to offset any recency bias, like.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I'll go with that. Below Eureka 7.
I think that's a good spot to be. You know,
I don't think I'd put it below Hellsing Ultimate. Like,
no way.
That had more issues that popped up. All right, I think that's my position, right below Eureka 7.
C-Caller?
I'm fine with that.
Okay. It is done.
Woo-hoo.
It's still
so
number 22.
Yep.
Our number 22 show is now fully coolly alternative.
Well, and let's give props to Toonami and DeMarco and all those folks for putting out a show that, you know, is pretty damn good when you look at this list. Yeah.
Yeah,
there was a real good chance these both were going to be god awful, and they pulled out something pretty special here, I think.
Yeah,
I like how our new "this show just sucks" tier is now starts with progressive.
So just looking at the list now, that was our 50th show.
Yes,
finished or not? I mean, not all these shows are finished. We have Hunter on here, but
like
50th show we've ranked. Yeah,
50 shows.
When does Hunter end anyway?
Next like June or something like that.
Just watched episode 115. It's going to 140 something. So
so
I mean, if you had told me before Hunter began, or even maybe into the first season, which I guess we did that, that it would be like near the very top of this list, I would have gone no.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, oh my god, this show is
like every time we come back and we do a ranking, we kind of look at that Hunter spot and we're like, that's going to edge higher, isn't it?
Oh, remind me, we were calling Samurai Jack setting at 12 here. Is all of it?
Yes.
Yeah, we combined it
because I came in and I was like, I keep looking at this and it's too weird.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
All right. Well, we did it.
Yay!
Now we have like 4 more shows to talk about.
Oh crap! I got rid of the show schedule.
Oh no!
On my browser. No. Technical difficulties. B-dubs. Gobble again.
Gobble gobble gobble.
Elevator music. Insert elevator music here.
Yes. Do that instead.
All right. Did you guys listen to last week's episode?
I did.
What did you I did. I heard.
You didn't get to listen to the Wii U.
Yes, I heard that.
Insert that there.
Okay.
Do it again.
Oh, but only insert like the first few seconds, like dun, 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 and stop.
All right.
Anyway, Attack on Titan. Speaking of Attack on Titan, Attack on Titan. Attack on Titan, episode 45, Outside the Walls of Orvid District, which is not a descriptive title at all.
Nope.
It's just like, hey, we're outside the walls of this specific district. Actual episode content. A giant 75-mile-long slug man is extremely slowly lunging toward the wall.
Head first.
Head in the ground.
Yeah.
Just like,
I am shocked at how fast this season is moving. Like, it's completely ridiculous. It's combining like multiple chapters in a single episode, and it's just really good.
I'm shocked at how fast those guys got back to the walls. I was like, wait, hold on. They were behind him. Now they're in front of him, and they have time to have a big old meeting.
Yep.
And it's like, I know he's slow in comparison to himself, but every single stride is like 3 miles.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, but they have horses.
Yeah, they got horses. I was not. I think you were the only person who made a comment about it being too fast. Everybody else was just like, that thing's slow as shit.
Like, I can deal with them beating him there. I can't deal with them beating him there and then being like, we have time for a meeting before he gets here in the morning.
Yeah. Well, I do want to say, people were really initially saying like, "Oh, look at this terrible CGI," but I actually felt like it was pretty effective of making that thing look pretty creepy.
Yeah, that thing looked weird.
But like, I kind of just remember this whole thing, in the manga. I'm like, so we're not going straight to the basement? Was sort of my reaction.
Fucking Sasha.
Oh yeah. Her line was, I actually forgot about it. You mean that's important now?" Basically speaking as if she were an audience member.
Or if she was the writer, like, oh wait, yeah, the basement. I still have to do that. Sorry.
Shit, the fucking basement? We were talking about that in 2012.
Now, I don't hate that it took this long to have that point be important. In fact, I feel like in a lot of fiction, like, things are relevant as soon as they need to be. Always. Yeah. Like
One Piece.
Like someone remembers something, like, of course, as soon as like it's useful for them to remember it.
Yeah.
So, and it just doesn't feel super organic. Like, is it as well done as some of the seeding that Oda does in One Piece? Maybe not. But like the fact that it was brought up to be revisited later, I don't think that inherently is like poor.
Well,
framing.
And especially in this situation where these people are literally living day by day, risking their lives. They don't have a lot of time to contemplate. They're kind of on edge.
Right. Yeah. I mean, my problem with the whole, we're going to the basement thing is just that there's constantly some new thing stopping them from getting any closer to the basement.
I will say, after watching 2.5 seasons of this, though, and I think you have a different perspective, B-Dubs, because you read the manga and it was slow as shit.
Oh, it was horribly slow.
And this doesn't feel slow to me. Like that we're in season 3 and we're just now getting to the basement. I think that's fine. I mean, that doesn't feel out of place to me.
When I think about it, I think they were trying to get to the basement during the female Titan stuff. So it was literally only. Well, yeah, but the female Titan was when they were like, okay, we can actually get to this basement now.
And then things kept getting in their way.
Yeah, and then it's imagine? Like, it's the female Titan. There's Titans inside the walls. Aaron got kidnapped.
Oh no, it's cowboys. It's the slug thing.
Can you imagine if they did go to the basement? Like, let's just say they made it possible they went there as soon as they could, not knowing all the stuff that we've learned since then. They'd be like really confused.
Hey, what the hell?
Honestly,
there's Titan juice. What are you talking about?
No. Honestly, I'm
like, I have no idea who this is.
No. You know what the best part of all this is? Is they get to the basement, and no, I'm not going to tell you, but like, I don't think the reaction would have changed at all.
What the hell is the Rice family?
Like that's the whole thing I have with the basement is I know what's in the basement. And I'm like, it is not worth all this effort.
The basement was in your heart the whole time.
Yeah, I mean, all of this is way more important than the basement ever was.
Okay. Then Sasha's justified.
Yes. I mean, I do think it's amusing either way.
Yeah. Well, it's just not going to be worth all the effort, and you guys are going to be screaming and yelling when we finally get there.
Sasha also had another great moment in this episode where she was like really happy that they were alive, but then pissed off because they went through a bunch of I forget exactly what she said, but it was really funny.
I like that all of Kenny's dudes suddenly were just like, falling rocks! Oh no!
One conversation in this episode I did like was Levi was talking about having Historia basically assume her place as queen. And other characters in the thought of trying to be considerate were like, well, it's not our decision to make. It's not our place to make that decision for her. Like, have Historia decide that. And basically, they gave Historia the agency to basically discuss her thoughts on all of this. And I like that they allowed that to happen. And she ultimately decided that this is what she wants to do. Like,
oh, dude. Like, I said it in the thread, too, like, Historia as a character has grown up so much in this season. And, like, you're right. Like, she's quickly become one of my favorite characters in the show because she has matured on a level that like earlier, like in season 2 or 1, like
she was a nobody. Like
I know exactly, but like she was there, but like she felt like a side character who was just sort of wimpy and whatever. And it's like now it's like the fact that she can straight up go like, yeah, I'll be the queen. And it's like, damn. Yeah.
Well, it's like she is sort of pushing and pulling on the plot a little bit.
I do really appreciate how they made the writing made it so the other characters are giving her
like they ceded
their respect. Like they're not using they're allowing her to be a character rather than a plot device, I think.
Yeah.
So
well, like they kind of gave her the choice here.
Mm-hmm. Like I'm glad they acknowledged that because it'd be something I definitely consider.
Yeah.
Like, what does she think about all this? And they allowed us to know what she thinks about all this.
Yeah, but at the same time, I'm kind of like, I don't know, I kind of wish she had said no. Well, like, I just kind of think that would be a little bit more interesting if, she had said no at first and then changed her mind later.
She also was basically, right at the beginning of the episode, going up there and she's like, stop crying, Aaron!
Yeah.
Well, I mean, someone's got to say it. And it's not going to be Mikasa.
I guess we haven't talked about that yet. This episode started out with basically this cave they were in was going to collapse. And the only way they could get out of there, and I might have missed something here, but Aaron kind of was the only one that could have possibly saved them. He grabs some Titan juice that said the word armor.
The Titan juice.
It said the word armor, right?
Yeah.
Now I don't know if this was like previously introduced.
Where did it come
about it? Yeah.
Rice had it in his hand.
Okay. Yeah. And he grabs it and he becomes a Titan with this armor juice, and he does this new thing he can do with it where he kind of creates like these, I don't know, this glassy, rocky type of webbing.
I think it's the same thing that we saw happen to what's-her-face in season 2.
Yeah. Crystal powers now.
Yeah, so it's that power, and he basically uses it to get them out of there. Right. And then Levi makes a note basically saying, hey, your body is still there now. It's not vaporizing like it normally does when you basically are removed from your Titan body, and this might be interesting or useful later. So maybe that will be useful.
They also said this may be the same technique that they used to make the walls.
Yeah.
Also, somebody pointed out in the thread, although I'm gonna answer their own question, but they were like, so they couldn't break Annie out of her crystal thing, but they could just easily break Aaron out of his. And I'm like, at first I'm like, oh yeah, that doesn't make sense. And then I thought, well, maybe he didn't do it right,
Annie didn't want to be broken out of, and Aaron did. So
so like they did it differently or something.
Yeah.
So yeah, that happened. That was right after he was crying for a while, though.
Well, I mean, it's Aaron. He's always going to cry for a while.
I have two emotions:
yelling and crying.
Yes.
Anyway, let's talk about JoJo. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Diamond is Unbreakable, Episode 8, Yukako Yamagishi Falls in Love, Part 1. Boy, does she ever fall in love.
Oh, and yes.
It's very, very bad.
Oh, God.
Does not turn out well.
No. So, yeah. Like, Josuke and Okuyasu are walking by a cafe, and they're like, the fuck is Koichi doing here? Oh my god! Okuyasu just can't even deal with this.
So, what's her name? Yukiko?
Yeah.
Now, for some reason, I don't know if this has been shown yet, she is infatuated with Koichi. I don't know if there really is a reason or she just is. And yeah, things happen. She's very infatuated.
Extremely. To the point of obsession.
Mm-hmm.
She basically is like, I'm your #1 fan.
No, she's Kathy Bates in Misery.
That's literally a line from Kathy Bates in Misery.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, she's a super fan of Koichi.
So the first thing they do is Josuke and Okuyasu. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that name right.
I think you got it just right.
Their advice is to have Koichi be as undesirable as possible, and some of their suggestions include being like a thug or being gross.
So eventually they just decide to incredibly obviously just kind of loudly whisper in front of Yukako, "Man, I heard he stole something. No dignity."
Now, that was a manga line that they didn't quite dub it that way, but it seems like it's a bit of a meme. No dignity.
Just a little bit.
I feel you. I feel your feelings.
Yep.
Anyway, this totally works, and she totally doesn't kidnap Koichi.
Nope.
Yeah, that was. I'm liking this a lot. It's funny because it's very simple. It's just this crazy girl. Like, she's not. I mean, well, I guess she's crazy. But anyway, she's infatuated in a bad way about him, and then it's like we're just setting this up that she's basically captured him now, and that if he tries to escape, I mean, he can't because he's like got her like hair in his scalp, so he can't do anything about it.
Yeah, by the way, she can do some really body horror things with hair.
Yeah.
Now, is her stand power just basically various things with hair? Like,
she controls her hair to an extreme degree.
She can set hair on fire.
She set that hair on fire with probably
her own hair.
Okay. Probably like grabbing a lighter or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we did see her like with some like gasoline or something. But no, yeah, I think you're right. I think it's just hair manipulation.
And then one of the things, so she takes Koichi to like someone's. It's like an abandoned vacation home. The point being that like no one else is going to be there for a long time. So the idea being is you're stuck here with me, and we are going to man you up. So he recently failed a test because he was so stressed out. It was an English test, and she's like, "We are going to learn English."
And if you don't, you will eat this eraser.
One of these things that may not translate to a dub very well, but they did a decent job, at least with the first question, in terms of like a song translation. I'm not quite sure how it was in Japanese.
The second one
reversed it, whereas how they did it in the dub was the lyrics are in English here. What would they be in Japanese, or what would be the best translation? And she gave 3 different Japanese translations for it. That's how it was done in the dub. I think that might have been reversed from what it was originally.
Yeah, the second one was just like, is it this, or this? And they're like, all the same thing.
It was like 3 different ways to write a Japanese word or something like that. I didn't get it.
I guess so.
Yeah. One of those things that is no matter what going to be hard to translate to a different language. But anyways, yeah, that's what she's doing. Now, could you imagine this sort of this whole dynamic between our 3 characters, like in like Stardust Crusaders? It's very different.
Yeah.
Stardust Crusaders is Jotaro walks up to her and punches her face off.
Oh, that does remind me. That's something else they revealed in this episode, is that like apparently stand users are like they're drawn to each other.
Yeah.
So
basically, Hazmata is like, hey, by the way, you're gonna run into every stand user eventually because shonen.
Yeah, I kind of like that. I know it seems kind of cheesy, but I don't know. I kind of want to applaud Araki here for doing that because, like, you're right. It's actually better than just coincidence. If there really is a mystical, magical reason for all these stand users running into each other in this small town, like, I'd rather have that be a thing.
Yeah.
Rather than just complete coincidence.
Yeah, it's like, oh my gosh, there's stand users everywhere. This is way better where it's like, no, they're kind of like drawn to each other.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of cool. I
wonder if it'll ever be elaborated more than that, or if that's just sort of a hand wave. Yeah, they're drawn to each other. That's why you see them all the time.
I think it is a hand wave.
Again, I kind of prefer that to just being like, this is a crazy, bizarre town.
Here's the reason there's 17 million stand users in this tiny town.
Right. Speaking of the opening, we got a weird like EDM remix of this opening.
I don't like it as much as the original. But I've always had an affinity towards like brass band type music, so I love the original opening.
Does this change back, or is we just now have this now?
It's basically only for like specific Koichi episodes. No.
Metatron in the thread said it's for these Yukiko episodes, so like the next one might have it.
Which is a weird thing.
Like, why? Okay.
Yeah, that's weird. Oh, and we did forget to mention this too. Twat waffle.
Twat waffle.
Somebody said the phrase twat waffle.
He did. And it was amazing.
This dub is good.
Yep.
This show is good. This has been so far my favorite JoJo.
I agree.
I don't know. I still like 2 more.
It's early.
2 is good,
it is.
But this is... I'm just... Everything about this new one is... I'm really digging it.
We'll talk about this in 31 weeks or whatever when we are ranking.
Yeah. Yes, we will.
Or even sooner at the end of the year awards.
Oh, yeah.
Conveniently, a thing is going to just not happen in time. It's going to be just pushed into next year, which makes it very clean for some categories.
Oof.
Anyway.
Speaking of award-winning shows.
Award-winning television, Black Clover.
Oh, God.
Black Clover, episode 42, The Underwater Temple. They go to the Underwater Temple, which is underwater, and there's people there who are basically no different from everyone else.
I'm shocked.
Like, they show up, and it's just like, oh, cool, you're magic knights, huh? And it's like, okay, the Underwater Temple means nothing.
So they're not even, like separated from the rest of the world, because apparently they know what these people are.
Yep. They're not even mermaids or nothing. They're just,
I don't remember anything else.
Well, there was like an old perverted guy.
There's always an old perverted guy. Of course.
Black Clover is actually good again, guys.
I'm sure it is. Some people need their eyes checked.
That one dude who can change forms turned into Charmy.
He did.
He did it for like size reasons.
Yeah.
And then he just stayed that way for now because.
What I don't understand, and maybe I'm not supposed to, or this show isn't smart enough, is that whenever he turns into someone, he takes on their characteristics. So we had 2 Charmies that were really hungry instead of just one.
Don't question it.
Also, I do want to mention, and we talked about this in the thread a little bit, but I thought it'd be interesting to mention, is that I've probably seen this opening like, I don't know how many times now, like 4 or 5.
Yeah.
I never once noticed that fat guy, that big guy, is not in it, and that instead there's some blue-haired girl.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we're going to learn something about that.
Thinking emoji. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's going to happen. Let's just put it that way.
I mean, do we have to though?
Now, remind me, the singing girl, like Kohana or whatever her name is, she said something about like she was going to be in the underwater temple, didn't she?
Yes.
Maybe.
So she was like, "See you guys at the underwater temple. I'm not a villain."
Yeah. So she basically hinted to the audience that she is from that place. We don't know like who she is though, and
the people of this Skypeo underwater world. Basically, were like
people of Fishman Island.
Yeah, they were basically like, okay, hey, have a nice time. And then as the door was closing, and they were like, good luck.
Yeah.
Fuck those guys.
Now remind me, I kind of hate that I'm asking this, but the whole reason why they're going to this temple in the first place is they're collecting like one of those jewels.
They're there for the MacGuffin.
And that jewel, I don't know if we learned what they do yet, but it's just something that the bad people want for some reason, and they know that.
It's just a MacGuffin. They're there for the thing the bad guys want. So
basically, they're trying to get the MacGuffin before the bad guys do.
Yes,
I guess.
I'm actually asking about like the bigger picture here because like, okay, what is it?
And then it looks like we're all going to break.
That's why it's a MacGuffin.
Yeah, and they're all going to break off and fight literal fishmen.
Oh yes, I actually forgot about that.
There are actual literal fishmen in this.
I forgot about that.
Right at the very end of the episode, and they just showed up. None of their mouths even animate when they talk.
They have skills.
Yeah.
That old guy, by the way, was super annoying.
Yeah.
What else is new?
Fuck this. Let's talk about Hunter x Hunter.
Okay.
Hunter x Hunter episode 115, Duty and Question. In this episode, Shoot is fucked up.
Yep.
Yeah, he got fucked up.
But Knuckle is there to be incredibly manly.
He's always incredibly manly.
And Malorion is speed walking his way out of there.
He is getting out as quick as his legs will take him.
Yep. And then a whole bunch of fun stuff with Wolfen overanalyzing absolutely every fucking thing.
He's like, trust no one, not even yourself. That picture of the guy shooting himself.
It's like a combination of that and the emoji where the person is just doing math and looking like confused. Like trust no one, not even yourself, while math is going on.
This elevator is suddenly a trap for no reason.
I'm trapping myself.
They're playing up this whole idea that this guy's like whole Nen ability is based around his like suspicions of everything. Like that's what makes his stupid missile Nen ability.
Oh God, what was the dumb name that thing had?
Oh, it was dumb.
Cheeseburger.
It was something.
Okay, I'm looking it up here real quick.
Okay, C. Kohler, this week's episode title is Trust No One, Not Even Yourself, and you have to make a shop of that one pic with Wolfen pointing a gun at himself.
Okay.
Pointing his missiles at himself.
I'm sorry, I got sidetracked because I was going to look up this guy's.
Anyways, this episode was kind of slow, like overall.
A lot of, is Malorion going to hold his breath long enough? Drama.
Yeah. Now, remind me, what is Malorion's like trying to do now? He's just trying to figure out
I have no idea.
Like he was originally going to find Pito?
He was originally going to get Knuckle close to the king so Knuckle could put APR on him.
Yeah. Oh, that's it. But now that plan is out the window.
And now, actually, they're all just kind of like, keep the Royal Guard occupied because Netero is fighting the king. They don't realize that Netero is already left.
So Melioron realized that Morel is fighting Poof.
Yeah,
and he went to help. And he basically realized that, or he kind of deduced that Killua and Gon must be close to Pitu. So he's sort of just kind of like taking inventory of where everyone is in a sense. Because they
also manly tearing over Shoot.
Yeah.
But also not just kind of standing right there, not visible, just being like,
Now, this might be nitpicking or not suspending my disbelief enough, but like he is thinking to himself, he's not allowed to breathe, but like the voice acting in that scene, he's sort of sobbing while he's talking or thinking. And he's like very clearly the voice actor is breathing. Like I know I was thinking too much into it, but it is kind of just amusing where he's crying, holding his breath, and having this monologue, this sobbing monologue to himself because he can't say anything.
Yeah.
He wants desperately to say things, but he cannot.
I want to congratulate you on being a bro.
Did you learn what Welfin's ability is called yet?
Missile Man.
Yeah, you can tell when Tagashi doesn't care about an ability.
Oh, I didn't realize Welfin was voiced by Xander Mobus.
Wait, really?
Yeah, it doesn't. Not quite his usual voice. That's the Smash Bros. Announcer guy, by the way.
Yeah.
I mean, he's almost comic relief if they weren't taking it seriously.
Yeah.
Just so fun. It's just so funny. Anyway, at the end of the episode, Gon is fine. Don't worry.
We get like a 10-second. We end the episode with a 10-second silent shot of his angry face, just staring at Pitu.
Might be worth mentioning that Killua had a very different face. He almost looked like he was concerned with what Gon was going to do. That's what I read into it.
He's just like, Gon, are you okay?
Yeah.
Gon.
He's like,
Gon.
Dude.
Excuse me.
This is not good.
I was surprised to see Pito look back and actually look. I don't want to say she looked concerned, but she didn't look
happy.
She looked like kind of like, what?
Yeah.
Pitu cannot use Nen right now because all her Nen is going into Dr. Blythe.
I forgot about that.
Can't not do it because the king was like, you better fucking do this.
So she's concerned that she's about to get wasted on.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, Gon has an attack that could pretty much one-shot her.
But yeah,
Pichu is defenseless right now.
She didn't look worried, but she didn't look like she looked like she didn't expect someone else to be coming. Like she was slightly.
Like I thought she was gonna turn and see Gon, and then just suddenly do the eyes again, like crazy eyes that she has. But she kind of looked a little. I want to say concerned. Like she looked a little concerned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's. Are we gonna? Is the next episode them?
Yeah.
I mean, people have been building up to the next episode for a while, so like hyping it. So yeah.
Cool.
I mean, there's a couple of different episodes that are getting hyped up right now.
Is the next episode number 116?
Mm-hmm.
That's that. Like I know what that number is because people keep saying it. Like I think people said that like as far back as like the beginning of the show. Like wait
till episode 116.
Oh yeah.
So yeah.
Awesome.
Oh boy, this is.
I just can't. I mean, again, this show never seemed interesting to me, and now I'm like, I kind of want to recommend it to people. I'm like, this is good.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, that'll do it for this episode of the Toonami Escape podcast. Thank you.
Done?
Yeah, the ending on Hunter x Hunter still feels weird.
Yeah, like it just feels wrong.
We need our 2-episode come down of Shippuden and Black Clover to be like.
Exactly.
Anyway, thank you, B-Dubs.
Okay.
Thank you, C-Caller.
No problem.
Thank you, Seda.
Yep.
We'll see you guys next week for episode 125. It's gonna be a fucking big one. I can feel it. Just the fact that this MHA episode and this Hunter x Hunter episode fell on the same week. Shit.
Yep.
See you guys next week. Goodbye.